Hi, I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast, and today I'm going to show you how to make an Irish wake, which is the drink we are featuring in this episode of the Scary Spirits podcast. But please remember, I am not a bartender. I only play one on the internet. Alright, let's get started. First, you're going to need a Collins glass, and we need some ice. Ice in a Collins glass. Pour orange juice over the ice. Orange juice. 8 ounces of orange juice. Then we add 1 ounce gold rum, one ounce of white rum, 151 if you have it. And then 1 ounce of blue curacao. And we stir. Yellow and blue make green. And then we're going to top it with a red cherry. And there you go. An Irish wake. Delicious. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the podcast.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go. Hi, I'm Greg,
Hi, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Karen, what exactly is the Scary Spirits podcast?
The Scary Spirits podcast joins the wildly different yet highly compatible worlds of scary movies and alcoholic spirits. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, let's
Indeed.
find out. Let's find out, shall we?
Sure.
Greg, what's today's movie?
Today's movie was my choice, and I picked Dementia 13. It's a black and white unrated film from 1963. Would you like to hear a brief description?
I would.
Louise Halloran is faced with a dilemma since her husband John has died of a heart attack and she is not included in his mother's will. Traveling to his family's ancestral home in Ireland, Louise hopes to ingrain herself into the family while telling them that John is away on business. Unfortunately, John's family is very dysfunctional due to the drowning death of his little sister years ago, so Louise must deal with some very bizarre behavior and strange happenings.
That's an understatement.
For a short time.
Yeah, well, at least you're happier this time. And what drink did you pick to go along with this lovely movie?
The beverage I have chosen is called an Irish Wake. Would you like to know how to make it, Karen?
I would. What's it? Well, first tell us the ingredients in case people want to play along.
Okay. Well, you need 8 ounces of orange juice, 1 ounce of gold rum, 1 ounce of white rum, 151 if you can find it, or you just happen to have it lying around collecting dust.
You lucky dogs.
And 1 ounce of blue curacao.
Okay. Do you want to give them time to gather the ingredients?
Sure. Hold on. And we're back. Hopefully you have all your ingredients. So you're going to pour the orange juice over ice into a Collins glass. Add the rums and stir. Then add the blue curacao and top with a red and a green cherry. And yellow and blue make green.
Is that why it's an Irish Wake?
I think so, yeah.
So it's just the only qualifying thing is it's green?
Yep, green with a red cherry and a green cherry if we have them.
Well, full disclosure, I'm green cherryless.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
You got a green drink with a red cherry.
Okay.
But Karen, before we really get into this, it's only episode 2, and we already have errors and corrections from the last episode.
Shocking.
Shocking.
I'm shocked and appalled.
Yes.
What are they?
So in the last episode, when I was reading the ingredients for the Irish Wake cocktail there, I may have mispronounced curacao.
Maybe
Yeah.
you mispronounced
Yes,
it. Maybe.
yes. But my lovely and intelligent wife corrected me and told me how to say it phonetically. So it's curacao, even
She's
it looks
too-
like curacao.
She's too good to you.
She is.
You don't deserve her.
Probably not. Also, I think I was kind of a little rough on you for having ice in your glass.
I was a bit, upset, but I'll survive.
Because the recipe called for an iced glass, not a glass with ice. But last episode's drink involved using a shaker, and you put ice in the shaker. It did not say strain into the glass. It said pour into the glass. So you would have poured the ice cubes along with whatever you put in the shaker into the glass. So it was okay to have ice in your glass. I'm very, very sorry. Can you ever forgive me?
I'll try.
Okay, good.
This is awesome, though. So at the beginning of every episode, we're going to have to go over all mistakes from the last one. These things are going to get longer and longer and longer.
They might. Okay, are we ready to get to the movie?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, would you like to know why I chose the Irish Wake?
You mean pretend I don't know what happens in the movie? Or
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I would absolutely love to know why you chose the Irish Wake.
Well, as I read in the description, they travel to John's family ancestral home in Ireland.
You're so clever.
And there's a funeral and lots of dead people. So Irish Wake made all kinds of sense to me. So you ready?
I'm
Get
ready.
to the movie? All right,
Yep.
Let's talk about this movie. Scene 1 opens on a boat dock. A man, we find out his name is John, is listening to a radio, a transistor radio. And he says he wants to go for a little boat ride before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
His wife-
So tell them about what time of day this appears to be.
This appears to be like midnight.
Yeah. And is it Elvis on the radio?
You know, it's an Elvis that tried to make it sound like Elvis. But the beginning, I made a note. It sounds like that Wham song, Jitterbug.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whatever that song is, it starts. Da-dum-dum.
You wanted to admit that you knew a Wham song?
Well, I don't even
Awesome.
know if that's what it's called, but I just know, the Jitterbug. They kept saying Jitterbug.
All right. Now you
over
have to
again.
tell us what. All right. Hold on.
Hold
Let's find-
on.
That's
Now,
Wake Me Up Before You Go. I
Is it?
think. I don't know. I think.
Okay, it is Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Karen, you were correct.
Points for Karen.
Once again, you're in the lead.
I do enjoy being correct.
The rockabilly song that is played during the film's opening is called He's Caught. And it's He's Caught.
Okay.
And it's by Buddy and the Fads.
There you go. It was very Elvis-like.
Yep,
So
recorded in 1959, according to Wikipedia.
there you go. Must be true.
Yep. So John and his wife, who we find out is named Louise, they're on the
going on a midnight boat ride.
going on a midnight boat ride. She's smoking a Virginia Slim.
Is she?
It looked like a Virginia Slim. Yeah, so I made a note.
Did you make a note of their clothing?
No.
No.
But I do remember
He's in a full suit,
Yes.
tie and all.
Well, as it turns out, we find out later that they have just heard the reading of his mother's will, even though she's not dead yet. I guess she wanted to like gather all the kids and say, here's what the will's going to be. So you're not surprised.
Okay. So they're going on the boat right after that. All right.
Yeah. So they talk about the will, and it turns out that John's wealthy mother is going to give all the money to charity in the name of some girl named Kathleen. Louise makes a comment about the terrible music. And what does John do? He turns it up.
Lovingly, he turns it up. That's the epitome of petty right there. That defines their relationship right there.
You can tell they're really a tight couple.
Yeah, they're happy together.
They should have been listening to the Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
So Louise tells him that he's rowing too hard, and he says, "Why are you worried about my heart?" And then all of a sudden, on cue, he clutches his chest and collapses. So apparently John has a bad heart, right?
Yeah, we find that multiple times in the movie. They mention it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Louise says, "Where's the medicine?" And I guess he has like nitroglycerin pills or something. And she opens it, and of course it's empty.
But she tried, which I thought was interesting, considering what she does next. The fact that she tried to save him.
Right. And he tells her, as he's still alive on the boat there, he's like, "Row faster. If I die, you get nothing." That's what he tells her.
But didn't she get nothing even if he was alive?
Yeah.
So anyway.
True that.
He was just twisting the knife.
Yep. So and then he dies. He perishes.
Did you note wait. Did you note what time that was?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But it was very early.
Yes, I thought, well, you'll be very happy with this one.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. It was about 2 minutes in, I would say, I guess.
Yeah.
And so Louise says, "Oh my God, what am I going to do now? I got to get rid of him." Right? As you know.
As you do.
Right. So she throws him overboard along with the transistor radio.
She tied an anchor to him.
I couldn't tell if that was an anchor or not.
She's tough, man.
Yeah. And then I will say right here, probably mention this later, but I think the underwater photography is very good in this.
Yeah, I liked it. I like this scene a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. This one? You like this scene a lot?
Where he
is sinking to the bottom
and the music
eyes wide open
and the music kind of muffling and sort of fading out. I thought that was pretty cool.
Right. So then she starts thinking up a plan. How is she going to get in good with the mother, and how is she going to explain John? And because apparently I just found out at this moment, according to the description I read, you would think that the movie starts like in the States and then she travels to Ireland.
I agree. And
but actually the movie is entirely set in Ireland at the castle. So this is where I just figured out, they're already there at the castle.
Even though I might mention no one even tries to act Irish. Correct.
I haven't. Yes, I made a note about that. No one has an accent except the groundskeeper, who we meet later, and another guy, and a bunch of people at a bar. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So Louise starts to type a letter to the family. She's making up this plan that John had to leave suddenly on business. So she's typing a letter that she will give to John's mother, explaining why he all of a sudden disappeared, right?
He absconded in the middle of the night.
Yes. And is John a writer? Do we know what John is?
No, I didn't know. I don't know.
Okay. Because I made a note that she has a couple typos in her typing.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she skips a space, like two words are put together and things like that. I guess it was too hard to like refilm. I don't know.
Too expensive.
Yeah. And then she starts practicing her husband's signature so that she can sign the letter properly.
Which she does.
Yep. She then packs a suitcase for him, because of course if they come in and find all of his clothes are still there and the suitcase is still there and even his typewriter, she packs his typewriter, but she doesn't actually pack them. She takes them down to a pond and throws them in the water, right? Lots of shit gets thrown in the water in this movie.
There's either a lot of ponds, because I think there's a lot of ponds.
Okay.
She's very cool and calculating. She's not upset at all that her husband is at the bottom of a pond.
No. And she even, as she's packing the suitcase, she says to herself, because we hear her thoughts, right? In the movie, she's not speaking, but we hear her speaking and it's her thoughts, right?
Yeah, her voiceover. Yeah.
And she says, I wonder if he will rot underwater.
Yes.
How long would it take a body to rot underwater, Karen? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure. No.
Oh, okay. I mean, she's pretty good. She pretty much covers all her bases, I think,
No one questions her.
No. So she throws the suitcase and the typewriter in the water. So then we cut the next scene. We're in the castle. I think it's breakfast.
Yeah, it's early. So he left in the middle of the night.
Right.
So, yeah.
So they're all sitting around the table to talk about the castle being haunted. Louise says it could be haunted, and I guess Billy tells her it already is because it's haunted by Kathleen. There's this poem Billy recites that his mother used to say, that 3 sons would marry and go away, but Kathleen who would stay, but something like that, right?
Yeah, because the girl always gets stuck taking care of the parents.
Yeah.
But he gets to leave. But they do mention she had her later in life.
Yeah, said she was 40.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we cut to the airport. Irish Airlines, and there's another girl arrives, another blonde-haired, like almost looks identical to Louise.
Yes, I agree. And when I was watching it, I thought, wow, the 60s had a look. But after I researched the movie a little bit, and it's supposed to be a Hitchcock-like movie, right. They're Hitchcock blondes. So I looked that up. They're Hitchcock blondes. So what that means is the definition of a Hitchcock blonde or an icy blonde. Here it is. It's a beautiful, sophisticated, poised woman who carries with her an air of mystery and indirect sex appeal. She carries the film as an unexpected source of duplicity and can be cunning and an intelligent adversary. Huh. First, I couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar.
They are. So that's a good description. That describes Louise, I think, more.
Well, she's more the
cunning
movie star. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Billy picks her up.
Yep. Billy picks her up, and we found out her name is Kane, right? Kane, Kane.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Even that's what the credit said at the end was Kane. Why would you call her Kane? Why would her name be Kane?
To prove she's American.
Because
Kathleen, she's not Mary Frances or something. What would be another Irish name? I don't know.
Yep. So Billy picks her up at the airport because Richard is far too busy with his sculpture.
Yeah.
Billy drives her back to the castle in his convertible, which I made a note was a nice car. Nice car. I noticed cars, I guess.
See, there you go.
I couldn't tell you what kind of car it was.
It was a bachelor car.
Yeah, it was. So then we meet Richard, the brother. So we met Billy and then Richard, who are John's brothers, right?
Yes.
Richard the sculptor. So Beyonce arrives.
Let me just say he's very charming in a sarcastic tone. He's awful.
Yeah.
You don't send your brother to go pick up your fiance because you're too busy making weird sculptures,
Yeah. And then we're back at the table again. Are we back at a family gathering?
Yeah.
Is it dinner now? Are we at supper?
Could be.
And they talk about the ceremony that is to come the next day for Kathleen, right? They do every year. And the mother says that it's for immediate members of the family only. She doesn't care for the girls much. Mom doesn't.
No. But how would you like to come in, meet the family? We're having a ceremony that we have every year for the sister that died. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, you're not invited.
But when they go, so Richard and the mom argue over the girl, right?
Yep.
And this is where I noticed, and I don't know if you did, but the mother doesn't look very much older than Richard. Did you notice that?
No, she doesn't.
So I looked it up because it bothered me. she's only 6 years older than he is.
Oh, and
But
like the actor
the actors in the
are 6
film.
years apart.
Yeah. She looks very young to be playing someone who's pretty old. Although I say that, but she's only 55, which is younger, you know.
Yeah, she's got jet black hair. You think they would just put some gray in it, you know?
But he has gray in his hair. In some of the shots, he has gray.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look right. The rest of the actors are at least 10 years younger than her, 10 to 15 years younger than her. But the oldest remaining son, I don't know where John fit into the sibling order, but.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of got the feeling Richard was the oldest, but I don't know.
God, I hope so. He looked, yeah.
Maybe not. So the next scene, it's we talked about John and his mom kind of argue and about Cain, right?
Oh, Richard and his mom.
Sorry. Richard and his mother argue about Cain. And Richard tells his mother he wants to be married. And the mother says, "Oh, you want me to talk to her then?" And he says yes. And she says, "Okay, I'll tell her that I don't care for her." And she walks away.
So nice.
And Richard says something about if you hurt her, I'll never forgive you, or something like that, right?
Yeah. Not half-heartedly.
Yeah. So that's the next day. Is this when she's riding the horse? Yeah,
this scene was weird. I think is it only to show that Richard doesn't like
Louise.
John's? Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't trust Louise.
I think that's the main reason.
So did you catch the conversation about her being an American girl?
I did. The Tom Petty song.
Yes. Yes. You can tell she's been raised on promises.
That is weird. Do you think he watched the movie?
I don't know. He must have. He took that line, unless that's some other famous description of American girls.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is
interesting.
Yeah, very coincidental if it's not true.
Right.
But we can't ask him.
Right. So then we go to scene 2 on the DVD that I was watching. We talk about secret passages, and we meet the caretaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling Louise about secret passages, and it's time for the ceremony, and he tells her that she can watch it from the towers.
Yes.
Right.
Which she does.
Yep. He tells Louise about Kathleen. And then there was a big wedding for someone in the town, because it wasn't a family member, right?
No, apparently they had lots of parties and gatherings.
Yep.
Probably the largest house in the town.
Right. And Kathleen was a bridesmaid. Turns out she fell into the pond and drowned. And then the caretaker says there won't be another wedding here, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why the mom doesn't like weddings. Maybe it's not really Cain.
Maybe it's her boys. She just don't want to give her up her boys.
I guess.
That's what I think. So we see the pond. There's a flashback. Does Billy have a flashback here?
Yes.
Yeah. And then along comes Cain, right? Richard's fiance, wearing a nice sweater. I made a note.
I did not notice that.
And did you notice that this is the daytime scene, right? But it is brighter than any other scene in the film.
The scene where she's on the horse?
No, this is after this, when Billy is at the pond and then Cain comes.
Oh, and they talk.
In the nice sweater, and they talk.
Oh, I missed the nice sweater, but I did make a note that Billy and Cain spend an awful lot of time together.
Yeah. And then there's a boom mic that comes down from This scene was filmed by a completely different director.
Oh, this is where they meet the poacher dude.
Yeah, this is where they meet the poacher.
Okay.
So we should say this was written and directed by Francis Coppola, right? It's his first major writing and directing film.
It is, but I did find out that it is, a lot of people think it's his first, but you know that I love this quote because
he did other things.
Well, yes, he had already helmed a pair of low budget nudie flicks.
Yeah, some softcore.
In 1962, but here's what they're called. It took me a while to find them. The Bellboy and the Playgirls.
Yes.
That one's okay. But this one I love. And Tonight for Sure.
Yeah. I found the movie poster for that one.
Oh, well, you'll have to share that online. That one, I like that
Tonight
title.
for Sure. It's about two guys at a strip club.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, so we dropped more knowledge. So if you're ever in an argument, it's not his first film.
Right.
It's his first recognized film.
And we should also say that this was produced by Roger Corman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was like a famous B movie horror producer. Francis Coppola was working with him as like a sound guy or something. I don't know. And he wanted him to do this film as a cheap ripoff of Psycho because Psycho had just coming out, right?
Yes.
So Coppola did it with, $25,000 or whatever he was given. But Corman wasn't happy with the final cut. So he had the scene added where Billy and Kane in her nice sweater are by the pond and they find the poacher, right?
Yeah, I think the other guy, who was it? Corman, wanted more dead bodies.
He did.
So
He wanted
they
more dead bodies. It was too short and he wanted another,
okay.
at least one more killing.
So here comes here comes the guy in the yellow Star Trek uniform. Who's the one who is that who it is?
Like the red shirted ensign.
Yeah. Okay, so my bad.
The red shirted ensign.
Okay,
but we do get a little background on the in the scene about the ceremony that's going to occur. And we hear that they always have their umbrellas because it was a rainy day when Kathleen was buried, and Mother always throws the flowers and collapses every year.
Right on schedule.
And then he grabs an axe that just happens to be
there
from someone who was chopping wood earlier in the day,
mm-hmm.
and slams it into the tree and came pretty close to hitting her. It looked like to me. I mean, maybe she was farther back.
Well, when you can only see her sweater, I think maybe you're a little off in your spatial awareness.
And I may have been distracted.
Yeah, I didn't notice that myself, but
that doesn't seem to bother her. But then
no, she didn't flinch.
No, but then this guy in hunting gear pops up out of the cattails, right? And that scares her. That startles her. So this is Simon the poacher, we learned, who I guess is like a known to the family and I don't know, a neighbor, and they've caught him poaching, I guess, and he's looking for rabbits.
I feel like I should say Simon in the nice pants to go along with your sweater, but I didn't notice his pants. So
yeah, and I guess he's a trapper, but he's carrying a shotgun. And Billy says, well, I don't even think it's loaded. He's never killed anything. He just traps whatever, which was kind of weird, I thought.
Yeah, it didn't really. I mean, it did move the story along a little bit with the descriptions of the ceremonies and things, but otherwise, I don't really know his purpose.
Yeah.
And I think he had a fake mustache, but I'm not.
I think once again, he's there for comic relief.
Ah.
In addition to another person that can killed.
Another red shirt.
Ensign.
Yeah, sorry.
So then we cut to the funeral ceremony, which they have every year. Louise is watching from above in the tower, right?
Yep.
And they all walk around this headstone. They all have umbrellas and dressed in black. It's somewhat of an Irish wake, you would say.
One might say that. Wait, clink.
Yes, ice. There is ice.
Yes.
Yeah. So then they all throw flowers on the headstone. The mother's flowers wilt and she faints. Just like every year, I wrote. Just like every year.
Down she goes.
Yep. And then Louise comes running. I mean, like.
From the tower.
Right. She bolted down those stairs.
Yeah. In world record time to get to Mama Halloran.
Right. And helps her walk off and takes her to a room and, covers her forehead with a cold washcloth. Right?
She's very That's just she's a giving person like that.
Yeah. So she's a psychic or something. She's talking about the house is haunted. She hears the little girl asking for her to be heard by her mother.
Yeah, here comes the cunning part of the Hitchcock blonde.
Yeah. And so like the mom starts actually believing her and trusting in her.
Immediately.
Yeah. And she tells the mother that she will tell me. She'll tell me. I promise she'll tell me, right? What she wants.
And this is does she tell her to look for the signs? Doesn't she say look for the signs?
She might.
Yeah. Because she's going to make some signs. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So then Louise starts walking through the castle, right? Looking in rooms.
Well, she's trying to find Kathleen's room.
Yeah. And there's footsteps behind her. So it looks like they kept showing feet.
Some male shoes.
Yeah. Walking by shoes. Were they okay? Nice shoes?
Well, they were male shoes. So, But yeah, they were nice.
Louise finds the room with Kathleen's toys.
Well, the door is locked. So she goes through what?
The window.
The strange window.
Yeah.
And it is the loudest window creak that I have ever heard when she opens it. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, yes.
Yeah. And then at 29 minutes into the film, a toy walks across the floor. I made a note. A little toy walks across the floor. And there's nobody dead yet. I said,
But John's dead.
Well, that was in the first 2 minutes.
Oh, so it doesn't count if it's the first 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Note to self. No, but that's where while she's in the room, she's gathering toys.
Yeah, she's gathering Kathleen's toys.
In a convenient bag that was
Creepy
right there.
toys, too.
Yeah, weird.
And then we see the monkey with the axe.
But before that, when the toy runs across, you hear psycho music.
Do you?
Yeah, it's bad. Like it's almost the same music.
Huh.
And then then they see let's just call it the foreshadowing toy.
Yeah.
What is it?
A monkey with an axe.
Yeah. That the axe goes on
chops
rhythm.
On a wood, and every time it hits, there's an orchestra hit.
Yep.
And she grabs it to try to make it stop, and it won't stop.
Yeah.
I made a note that I really like this scene. So
dun dun dun. Why? Did she have a nice sweater?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was just I love
it was well done.
The music and everything
creepy.
was
very
creepy. Good. And how everything went with the axe and this is our second episode. So far, both of our movies have monkeys.
I know. I was going to mention that.
Both of them involve a will.
Yes.
And both of them have characters with biblical names. Exodus and Cain.
Well, Cain, but it's spelled differently, but yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, John's a biblical name too.
Yeah, that's true. What isn't anymore? Shit, Richard probably is. Don't think Billy is, but
no. I don't think Louise is either.
No, probably not.
So she's gathered the bag of toys and she leaves through the world's loudest window, creak again. It's a weird window. I guess I don't own a castle.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what kind of windows, but it just was a bizarre window because it was into a hallway.
Right.
So I don't know. Anyway.
So then she runs into Richard and Richard tells her that she's in the wrong part of the castle to find her room. So she must be in, the secluded part.
Yeah, they let us know that Richard does not like her.
Yeah, Richard does not like her, doesn't trust her. So then Louise ties all the toys together and ties them to a wrench by the pond.
Yes.
And then she takes a bottle of something. I didn't figure this part out.
What is that?
I don't know. She takes a bottle and pours it on the rope, connecting all the toys.
This is where I want to ask if anyone watches this movie and they know what that is. I would love to know what it is because she's tying it with twine.
Right.
She's tying the toys to a wrench with twine so she can sink it to the bottom of the pond. And she wants the twine to dissolve and so the toys will float to the surface. But what do you use it was a liquid in a bottle and she had her bare hands and she was
could have been
pouring
like a hemp rope or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something that would dissolve. But what would you pour on it to make it happen?
I don't know. It's going in water too, right?
Right. And I tried to kind of Google it and I couldn't figure out what that was.
Yeah. So then Louise starts taking off her clothes.
I did notice that.
And she jumps in the pond in her underwear with the toys.
She's in basically a bikini, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you noticed, right?
Noticed what?
The magical mystical waters changed her panties from white to black.
Yes, they did. Yes, I have a note of that. Yes, her underwear is much darker underwater. I wrote. I
think she's in a swimsuit bottom, but
yeah,
and she's placing the toys, but her eyes are open in the pond.
Yeah, she's very good underwater actor.
Yeah,
I think
perhaps she might have been distracted again, but.
So she's at the bottom of the pond, right? And then she finds the headstone.
She places the toys and she sees
a headstone with a body, a perfectly preserved
Kathleen
version of Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
And then she screams and I wrote pretty good underwater scream. Right, her mouth is open and everything, and
but can you just
bubbles come out?
Just as a timeout, swimming in a pond with your eyes open is just ugh.
It is very clear water too.
Well, but she's going to get an infection.
Yeah. So then she, after she places the toys, she comes up. After
she's
she
panicked.
sees the body. Yeah, she's panicked. She's screaming underwater. Bubbles are coming out, and she surfaces only to find there's a man there with an axe, and she is hacked to death.
Well, that's abrupt, but yes, she is.
Yes.
But did you note it took an awful lot of wax to get her to finally succumb. She
Yeah.
was, and when I was watching it, I was thinking, what a dull axe that must be. I mean, how many hacks of an axe do you think it would take to kill you?
Not many.
Right?
Placed in the right spot.
Well, she's coming out of the water, so it's her neck and head.
You would think. And I made a note that the sound is terrible. Whatever sound, I guess it's the sound effects they're trying to use as the axe hitting her body is terrible.
Oh, I didn't.
It's terrible.
I just noticed it took a long time.
It doesn't sound. I can't describe what it sounds like, but it's bad. So she's hacked to death, and then she is dragged from the pond,
caveman style.
Yep,
100%.
She's got a little. I mean, she's not. It's not.
No,
gory.
but she's got hardly any blood at all on her.
She's got some on her face and neck, and that's about it.
Guess she was in the pond.
So she was in the pond. And washed it all off, right?
Yeah.
And I made a note the toys are still at the bottom of the pond. Then we meet the doctor, Dr. Caleb.
He's a little frustrated with this family.
Yeah. You know, he looks like Sean Connery to me, and he sounds like Freddie Mercury. That's what I wrote.
I can't disagree.
Yeah.
He's a poor man, Sean Connery, though. He's not really a good looking guy.
Right. Well, you know.
Sean Connery's pretty handsome.
Yeah, he was. I like Sean. So then the doctor comes to see the mother, and she tells him, treat my body, not my mind.
Because he's getting all psychology.
Yeah, I know.
Going all psychology.
Is he a medical doctor, or is he a shrink, or what's the deal?
I think he's a
shrink.
No, see, I thought he was a medical doctor because she said, treat my body.
Yeah, but I think he's really a shrink. It's the feeling I get.
He acts like a shrink.
Yeah, he tells her every time this happens, every time you collapse. Every year at this time you collapse. Rest and relax your mind. And then the maid comes in, and the doctor tells the maid, bring her a summer dress, something useful and cheerful so we can have lunch.
And all Mama wants is what? For her to find Louise.
Louise. Yeah. Mother's very interested in Louise. Mother must see Louise, I wrote.
Because she wants to hear more about Kathleen.
Yeah, she wants to hear more about Kathleen and what Louise has found.
But what does the doctor insults the maid? Did you?
Yeah, he insults everybody.
But he said something like, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to wish 5 years of spinsterhood on you.
Right.
I thought, in this family, that might be an okay thing. But it was interesting. It was just thrown in there as a random sexist kind of line, you know? Like, ooh, spinsterhood. And the maid looks like she's about 20. So 5 years of spinsterhood isn't going to, well, maybe back then you would be an old maid at 25. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny.
So then we go to scene 3 on the DVD I was watching. And the maid comes looking for Louise at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't find her. And they have lunch out on the lawn.
Lunch or breakfast? I can't, because they say
It's
good
lunch.
morning and afternoon all at the same time.
Yeah.
But who arrives? Okay, they're looking for Louise, but who arrives in the car to have lunch?
Billy and Kane. Yes.
And all they say is, we went out early this morning.
Yeah, we went out early this morning.
And nobody knows where. Nobody questions it. Why is Kane always with Billy?
Well, she even says when she sees Richard, she says, do you know what I did today? And he says, what? And she says, nothing, because you weren't with me.
Yeah.
But her and Billy were out doing something.
You believe that crap?
So they're all eating lunch on the lawn, as you do.
Yes. Wondering where Louise is.
Yep. And then all of a sudden the toys start floating up from the bottom of the pond and surfacing. So of course
Which
they all
freaks
get freaked
everyone
out.
out. Yeah, everybody freaks out.
And for some reason the mother all of a sudden thinks, oh, she wants the tiara.
Of course.
Of course. You want the tiara with diamonds and whatnot, right, in it?
So the mother at the ceremony passes out, collapses. Mm-hmm. She sees toys float up from the bottom of the pond, and all she thinks is, the tiara. Yeah. She doesn't, that would be more likely to make me hit the deck than, the ceremony.
Yeah. So then the doctor tells Billy to fish the rest of the toys out of the pond, right? Because they've all surfaced by now.
Yes. And so everybody scatters.
And they all scatter. Richard and Kane go back to his little sculptor place, and they kind of get in an argument. And he kind of, asked her to go through all this shit with him and whatever.
Is this where he tells her if she's going to be his wife, she's going to have to be the quiet, understanding type?
Yeah, I think so.
Another fine line.
Mm-hmm.
Where in my head, I'm screaming.
Well, he's an artist.
I'm like, run!
He's an artist and all.
True. Tortured.
Yep. So then we see the poacher again. Simon.
Yeah,
we see Simon the poacher. So he's crawling around the pond, and he actually fires his gun a couple times.
But he's crawling around commando.
Like, yeah, he is.
What is the point of that?
I don't know. He's stalking prey, I guess.
I was actually laughing when he
keeps
was
hearing
doing
things in the brush, crawls down through the pond. He's crawling all over the place, looking
for the fluffy tail.
Looking at all the bushes and everything blowing around. I wrote lots of nothing going on. I wrote.
It was.
And then
like
all of a sudden,
somebody was saying, draw it out. Draw it out.
We need more time. We need 5 more minutes in this film. So then he crawls up on this hole or something, right? And then an owl jumps out, and it's like a big jump scare, right?
Yeah, a cheap scare. Yeah.
Did you jump? Were you startled?
No.
Okay. And then he finds the body that looks like Kathleen, right?
Well, it's like it was Winnie the Pooh's house or something. There's this hole.
Yeah.
Like the size of him, and he crawls through, and then it just opens into a room, basically, sort of big enough to hold fake Kathleen.
And then we see the man with the axe,
who is also in this room. Again, crawled through.
I thought it was just in the forest.
Well, it is, but I'm saying you go through this tiny hole, and then there's this big
opening.
Area. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It didn't make sense, but.
So basically, poor Simon is decapitated with the axe, and we see his head rolling down into the pond.
Yes, with one swing.
One swing.
Yeah. So either he sharpened it or,
Or she.
Right. Well, I think you see the male feet.
Yeah.
Because
that's the first thing he sees. He looks over and there's the male feet.
Yeah.
After he sees the Kathleen.
Right. So he tries to run, but yeah, one quick. So Louise got the rough end, because she got whacked a couple of times.
Right. Yeah, at least 7.
The head just rolls into another pond.
Right.
Is it the same pond Louise was in?
Don't know. And John is still in a pond somewhere too.
And all his crap is in a pond too.
Right. And then we see the poacher's body, Simon's body, sinking into the pond.
Yeah.
Bubbling from the surface. The killer picks up Kathleen and carries her away, right? So then we cut back to the doctor, and he's talking to the groundskeeper and wants the groundskeeper to drain the pond.
Which pond?
I know, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, they're going to find a lot of stuff when they drain that pond if it's only one pond. The doctor hands him some cash too.
Some cash dollars.
Yeah. Money.
Mm-hmm. So of course he does it.
Yep.
Because at first he says he's not going to.
Yeah. And then we cut to the mother looking at the tiara. And then she walks out and she goes to some shed or something.
Wait, is this before they drain the pond?
Yeah.
Okay.
She walks out to this. It looks like a shed. She opens the door and
I think it's carriage. It's a playhouse.
A playhouse, but it's outside.
Yeah, but a playhouse is outside.
Yeah, well, it's a shed.
No, it's where Kathleen played house or whatever.
So then the baby carriage comes shooting out, which is, I guess, another jump scare, right? And there's all kinds of toys. And there's also Kathleen sitting there, right?
There she is.
Sitting there having a little tea party with her toys. And the mother takes the tiara and puts it on Kathleen's head. And then she slumps over and it falls to the ground.
Kathleen slumps over, yes. And
Kathleen slumps over and the tiara falls to the ground. And then here comes the axe.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so the mother is trying to escape the axe killer. Well, the axe killer must not want to kill mother too bad because he didn't have any problem killing the other two.
Right.
But mother escapes and runs out to the lawn again. A lot of things happen on the lawn, I noticed.
And performs almost a perfect execution of what I expect to happen when I get a shot. I have a needle phobia. And she just, and it starts from the panic in the playhouse, which happens to me. And then the actual performance of hitting the ground, face planting, although she did it very gracefully.
Yeah.
She just fell. And I am surprised you didn't notice because I said, Mama Halloran has nice legs. She must run or something.
Was she wearing nice shoes as well?
No, the shoes were boring in this one, I'm going to say.
So then the axe killer picks up Kathleen, removes some twigs from her hair or something, picks her up, carries her away.
They're screaming on the lawn.
Yep, they're screaming, Richard, Richard. Everybody's, Kane is out there, of course, yelling for Richard. Richard runs out, picks up the tiara, and they take mother back into the house. So at this point, we cut to scene 4 on the DVD I was watching. And we see Billy sitting at the table with a candle, dripping wax on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was any significance to that. It's just weird. Just weird.
Yeah, he was just bored and felt like dripping wax on paper. Did you ever drip wax on your hand when you were a kid and then peel it off?
No, Greg, that was you.
It was me.
Just to wax my eyebrows.
So then we hear about Billy's room and all the tragedies that have happened in the house. He said he has to walk down.
Well, who's he talking to?
He's talking to Kane.
See?
Again, Billy and Kane.
I'm telling, sitting in a tree. I'm telling you.
He could do worse. And we start hearing about all the tragedies.
Wait, she could do better.
Start hearing about all the tragedies that happened in the house. He recounts them all: heart attacks, broken necks, so on and so forth. It all happened on the stairs in the bedroom where he sleeps and all this stuff. And they seem to focus on the clock a little longer than.
I think it's because he doesn't want to go to sleep. He has a recurring nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Then we hear about the nightmare, right?
Yeah.
I guess Richard has told Kane all about Billy's nightmares because she mentioned it, right?
Well, she mentioned that he had nightmares. Yeah. And then he explains to her what it is. It is recurring.
Yeah.
No.
So apparently he has this recurring nightmare of a man crawling up the wall outside his room to come and get him. The man climbs in the window and his mother's in there and he's clinging to his mother's feet. And the man comes in and says that the man says that he himself is insane and that when he nods his head, whoever else is insane will nod their head too or something like that. And his mother nods her head.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Yeah. And he says he recognizes the man, but he doesn't know him, right? And then
until just this moment.
Yeah. And then Kane says that we should all go get away or something before Richard throws us all into the pond. Isn't that what she says?
Yeah, something like that.
So she's insinuating that her fiance is
well, I think this is
good.
This is the first point where Billy's throwing shade at Richard. Like he's casting suspicion onto Richard.
Right.
For Kane and the audience. But Kane starts to waver a little in her.
A little.
You know.
So then Billy says, "Oh my God, since you said that, I just realized it's Richard. Richard is the man in my dreams."
Yeah, that's what I mean. Casting suspicion.
Right. The groundskeeper, he does drain the pond and he goes to fetch Dr. Caleb, who was having breakfast with
did
Billy.
He spend the night?
They're all well, yeah. I found this a little hard to follow. I didn't know if they were at the doctor's house or if they were still at the castle. I guess they were still at the castle.
Yeah, they were still there.
Was it the same maid?
Yes.
Okay.
This isn't a high budget film. It's the same maid.
They could have put a blonde wig on her or something, but whatever. So they're all eating breakfast with Dr. Caleb. So the groundskeeper takes Dr. Caleb to the pond and they see the shrine. It's like a headstone that says, "I'm sorry, Kathleen."
Yeah.
Kathleen, I'm sorry, or whatever. So I made a note that the doctor thinks it's Richard this whole time. Yeah,
because Richard comes running out first. They're trying to make you think that Richard is the guilty party.
Yeah, and every time there's a killing, Richard is the last one to arrive.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so we're led to believe Richard is the killer.
He's a little crusty. I mean, he's not.
But Richard blames Louise. He says something about it. She thinks it's Louise that is after that tiara, although no one knows where the hell she is. And they talk about, the sculpture, and that's when he casts more blame on Richard because he's a sculptor. And then we find out that their father was a sculptor.
But I work in metal.
Yeah. but they were all trained in stone because that's what their dad worked in, right?
Mhm.
They were all trained in stone. So then Richard, I guess, goes off in a huff.
As he does.
Yep.
It's his MO. It's his response to everything.
So then the doctor convinces Billy. He tells Billy that he thinks that Louise is in town hiding, and he convinces Billy to go with him to look for Louise.
So where's the one place they go in town to look for Louise?
Well, we'll get there. But first, we have Richard going through the catacombs, followed
I'm sorry, I confused the scene.
followed by Kane in her sheer
Yeah, see, this
in
is
her
what
sheer nightgown.
this is one thing that just drives me nuts in movies. Okay. Richard is in slacks, a sweater buttoned up to his neck.
Yeah, it's like a corduroy sweater, something weird.
Yeah, it's like winter
wears it the
sweater.
whole time. Yeah.
And shoes. And Kane is now suspicious because of Billy, right?
Yeah.
So he's going through the catacombs, through the tunnels.
She's
And you're
following
right.
him.
She's following him in the sheerest of nightgowns and panties, barefoot. And I'm like, what?
Well, that's what you do, isn't it?
When you're suspicious of your fiance.
Yeah, you pretend like you're going to go to bed, so you put on your sheer see-through nightgown, and then you wait for
White, of course.
you wait for
Your virginal
fiancé.
white, your virginal white sheer nightgown with no shoes. I think I would still put on shoes if I was going in the catacombs, but
house slippers at least.
right.
But she doesn't need them. She's fine. So Kane follows Richard. They find the spot where Richard's father did all of his carving, and they're looking at the carving, and then I don't know, she knocks something over, and Richard finds her and sees her.
A rat scares her,
Yeah.
which again, shoes,
Yeah. And then they
kissy face.
kissy face. Like he convinces her that he was there just trying to find out who made that stone shrine.
Like the
Definitely
answer
wasn't
would be
him.
Of course not.
Yeah.
And
And
what
then
did
they embrace, and then we cut to
wait. What did they miss? Was in that room,
then the Kathleen. Kathleen laying there.
laying right there. I guess Richard also was distracted by the sheer nightgown, Greg.
Well, of course he is.
So there you go.
Yeah. And she says that we can get married now. Like no one can stop
Yeah,
us. Your
your
mother
mom's
is still
too
ill.
sick.
Yeah. We'll get married now. Screw her. She doesn't need to be there anyway. All right. So then we cut to
The only place
Doctor
in
and
town.
Billy
Yeah,
in a bar.
the pub. Yes, because
Pub.
that's where you're gonna. Because if Louise is gonna hide out in town, she's gonna hide in the pub
That's right.
where everybody is.
And I think they're drinking Irish whiskey, aren't they?
Yeah.
'Cause the doctor says something tells Billy, even though he studied overseas,
His worthless American education.
which I guess explains why he doesn't have an accent.
But why doesn't the doctor have an accent?
Well, he does, but I'm not sure it's Irish. So I think they're drinking Irish whiskey, but they do walk past a big Guinness sign,
I saw that.
and
Guinness
everybody
is
else
good
seems
for
to
you.
be in there drinking too. And not to jump ahead, but they do thank Guinness in the credits.
Oh, I saw that too. They used to recommend Guinness to pregnant women. You want to know why?
Why?
Because they said it was the iron in the Guinness that would help you. There's not really a lot of iron in Guinness, but
I don't know.
it was a marketing plan.
Yep. So the doctor confronts Billy about witnessing his sister's drowning. So this is what makes me even more think that he's a shrink, because he talks about when Billy was a kid and he treated him when he was a kid with his nightmares and put him under hypnosis and stuff.
And here's where I feel seen. Me and Billy, 2 sips of liquor, and Billy's like off in a trance.
Yeah, and he's
repeating
profusely.
nursery.
Yeah, he's repeating. Do you know what he says?
Well, he's repeating a nursery rhyme. It's something about a fish and a hook, but
Fishy, fishy in a brook. Daddy caught you on a hook.
it becomes important later. But
Yeah,
I just was laughing because
little fish. And then there's another thing. I guess another line is because the doctor says something different later,
yeah.
but we'll get there. So
But yeah, 2 sips of liquor, and he's like, "Let me tell you what you want to know."
yeah. The doctor asks what happened to Louise. He starts reciting the poem again, right? When he talks about Louise.
Mhm.
And then we cut to Richard's wedding.
Yeah,
right?
screw mama.
Yeah. which I thought might have been, at first I thought it was another flashback to the wedding when
I
Kathleen
agree.
died.
I did
But
too.
then I'm like, oh no, that's Kane. Where's
Yeah, I
Billy?
had to look. Right. Is Billy marrying Kane? But she can't find Richard anywhere.
She's looking for Richard. And of course, Richard is nowhere to be found again. He always goes missing. He's like, I don't know, Bruce Wayne or something.
Nah, well, okay.
So the doctor still thinks it's Richard, and he tells Kane of his suspicions, right? More or less.
Yeah, he warns her.
I don't know. Yeah, you're in grave danger. I don't know what's the deal with Richard.
Well, he says the whole family's whack.
Yeah. So then he goes out
Basically.
and he's sitting on that fountain that doesn't look like a fountain, but it's not working, the stone. And he starts thinking of this poem again. But he says, little fish in a brook. Papa's hanged you on a hook. So then he has like the light bulb goes off and he goes into, I guess it's a meat locker where there's like half a cow hanging there. Or
I think it's a pig, but
a pig, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Louise.
There she is. And yet another pair of panties.
Yep. Is it the same pair or no? Do you notice?
No, it was different.
Ah.
Because once I noticed that they changed in the magical mystical pond, I was like, oh, she's in a different pair when she's hanging on the hook.
And now I have to go back and watch that part again.
Yeah.
Let's see what's different.
You know, in the name of research, I think you should.
What is different about this picture? And he also finds in the same room Kathleen.
Yep.
The body of Kathleen.
Kathleen gets around.
Perfectly preserved. In the meantime, Richard and Kane are up in the barn in the hay getting busy.
Yeah, because the doctor said, Kane, I'm very concerned. Something very strange is going on with this family. So what does Kane think? I'm going to jump on Richard in the barn.
In the hay.
I'll solve this problem. Oh, they had a roll in the hay.
Yes.
There you go.
All right. So then the doctor takes Kathleen and puts it out.
Perfectly preserved Kathleen.
Right? And puts her out in the fountain by the lawn, on the lawn, next to the pond.
Because what's he trying to do?
He's trying to root out the killer.
Right.
Right. So a woman screams. And I couldn't tell who screamed from the scene. You know,
I think it was just a wedding guest.
Yeah. And everyone comes out to look at the pond. And,
at the body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. At Kathleen.
At Kathleen. Yeah.
Yep. And Kane moves to touch her.
In the style of Hans from the last movie. Did you notice? She's like mesmerized and walking slowly towards Kathleen.
Yes, listeners, go back and listen to the previous episode to hear how Hans moves. And all of a sudden, Billy comes out with an axe, swinging an axe, and just misses her, apparently. And he struggles with Richard for a minute, and then the doctor shoots him. Shoots Billy.
Because he conveniently has a gun in his pants?
Yeah, he has a gun. He's a doctor.
I should have noticed that earlier. You noticed the sweater. Why didn't I notice the gun in the pants? Damn it. I have to pay more attention.
So the doctor shoots him. And then we flash back again to when Kathleen drowns in the pool.
Pond.
Damn it, pond. And then we hear music that kind of goes with the poem, right? It's kind of a nursery rhymey thing that goes along with the poem. Did you notice that?
No, but.
And then the doctor explains that she's a wax doll and he takes the axe and smashes her head.
Which I thought that was the only part of the movie where I jumped.
And then credits.
Yeah. When he smashed her head, I was like, oh, okay. But the mom is nowhere to be found.
Nope. She's still ill in bed, sick in bed, too distraught.
Well, she was almost killed in the playhouse with an
I think the
axe.
doctor's probably, pumping her full of drugs anyway, as doctors do.
Elixirs.
Yes. Soothing to help soothe her.
Nerves. Her nerve pills.
Yes.
Right?
And as I said in the credits, they thank Guinness. And they also list the second unit director, Jack Hill, who directed that daylight scene with the boom mic in frame.
And the poacher.
The end.
I'm not sure. I don't know quite what to say about it. I didn't hate it.
I didn't either.
It wasn't certainly as funny as the first one that we watched.
Yeah.
No.
It was a better film. It was a much better film.
Yes, I agree.
So anything you were pleasantly surprised by?
I did like the first scene. The boating.
The first scene?
I liked how it started.
Wake me up before you go.
where the camera was high.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting. And I really liked, I think it started off really well. Like you knew their relationship was petty
Yeah.
just by their tiny interaction in the boat. And then I liked the scene where he floated down and the music kind of got more and more garbled as the lower it went. I liked that scene a lot. You know, I thought
Yeah.
it was very well done in my limited experience of what a great scene in a movie is. I thought that was really impressive.
Anything you were very disappointed in?
Well, one thing I'm disappointed in is in myself that we've done two of these things and I cannot figure out what either title has to do with the movie. What does Dementia 13 mean?
I don't know exactly. They did shit. Hold on. So why was it called Dementia 13?
Yes.
During an interview on Turner Classic Movies, Turner Classic Movies, TCM, Roger Corman stated that while the film's title was originally Dementia, he discovered that there was another film by the same name that was filmed in 1950, or at least in 1955. So he had to change it. And he thought to himself that the number 13 was typically thought as a scary number, and Dementia 13 sounded good. So he called up Francis Coppola and asked him if he could add something to the script about a character having something bad happen to him at the age of 13 that would influence him to become a killer later on in life.
Oh, so was Billy
This would
13?
justify the addition of the number. Yeah. So I guess Billy was 13 when Kathleen died.
Okay. That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
The other thing I think I was disappointed in is I don't think there was one character in this movie that I liked.
You didn't like Kane or Louise? You didn't like the Hitchcock blondes?
Louise dumped her husband over the boat. And Kane, she may have looked good in a sheer nightgown and a sweater, but she was kind of stupid. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't really care for her character. So there was no one in the movie that I really rooted for. I felt like every character sucked.
Yeah, I kind of felt like even Kane was like she was like a second. I don't know what her point is in the film, other than that she takes the place of the Hitchcock blonde, right? After Louise is gone.
She does move the story along because they explain a lot of things to her. But otherwise,
Billy does.
Well, yeah, Billy and Kane. But what did you like about it?
What did I liked the scene with the toys, especially the monkey with the axe.
That was well done.
It was very well done. Most of the filming I thought was well done in this. You know, the underwater filming, just the cinematography in general, I thought was very well done and tasteful.
Well, that's like I don't know a lot about. I mean, I've seen a lot of Francis Ford Coppola movies, but I don't know.
I have too, a lot more than I thought I did, because I looked at his filmography, but I can't really
But I don't
remember
know
him.
a lot about filmmaking, so I can't really pinpoint anything in the movie that that's classic Francis.
Right.
There was nothing for, I mean, other people may watch it who are more knowledgeable about those things and see definite clues to his future films, but I couldn't comment on it. But it was much more well done than I expected it to be.
Yeah. And I could have done without Simon the Poacher.
True. But, family dysfunction.
I'm sure there was another scene in that one's place where Billy explains to Kane.
You mean there could have been another
ceremony
scene? There could have been another scene with Kane in a nicer sweater.
Yeah, maybe.
Having someone with a gun in their pocket explaining something.
Could have been, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe they're in the castle and she was getting ready for bed in her sheer nightgown. And
why didn't they show that?
Lounging by the fireplace. And
right.
They were talking about the next day's ceremony.
Greg's rewrites. We need more Kane. We need more sweater.
So, what do you think of the drink?
Again, I think it's another drink that you could have a lot of and get in trouble. It was tasty.
It was all right. I liked it.
And mine got greener as the night went on. Did yours turn more green?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's been gone a while.
Oh. Well, I still have a little. So I did look up the castle where this was filmed.
Yeah.
To see if there were any, to see if it was haunted or anything. Howth, Howth, Howth Castle. And there was only one legend of a pirate, a female pirate who stopped by to come in for dinner, but the gates were locked and they wouldn't let her in. So she kidnapped one of the grandchildren. Did you see that?
No, but I just Howth Castle. I did find that.
Yeah. And then, so from then on, in order to return the child, the gates always had to be open to anyone to come in and have dinner. So they always set an extra plate at the dinner table, and they still do it to this day, they said. But nothing, no ghosts, I couldn't find anything.
So Karen, what have we learned today?
What have we learned? That family dysfunction is an ongoing theme.
Yeah.
From,
anytime there's a will.
Well, it just proves my point. Here's what I always tell my children. If there is a dime left when I die, it just means I miscalculated. That way, there's no fighting. Doesn't mean that's what I'm going to do, but that's what they think I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So that they're going to get a nickel a piece, possibly, if I miscalculate. Otherwise, nothing.
Yeah.
Because this is a theme in movies over and over and over. No cash dollars, nothing to fight about.
Right. We also learned that this was not Francis Coppola's directorial debut.
And we found out that Greg liked tight sweaters on Hitchcock blondes.
And sheer nightgowns.
Yes. Well, who doesn't like a sheer nightgown? I think that's universal.
Yes, I would agree. So I had heard or read somewhere on another podcast or on TV or something that Dementia 13 was the basis for the first Friday the 13th movie, because it's all about the drowning child and axe killings.
Is that how Friday the 13th, were they all axe killings? They weren't, were they?
No, but they were all different. But yeah, it's a slasher,
Definitely.
But in the first Friday the 13th movie, Jason drowns and it's the mom who does all the killing.
Okay, I won't even ask, how does Jason come back then? Did Jason, without spoiling it for everyone, did Jason not really drown? Or is he... I've only seen the first one.
Well, you remember then when he jumps out of the water at the very end?
No.
And grabs the girl in the canoe. That's the only time you see Jason.
I thought that was a dream. Is that not a dream?
Shit, I don't remember now. It may have been a dream. But the killer in the first movie is the mother. I think even the all that sound, there's mother in there somewhere, or mom.
His mom is definitely the killer.
Yes.
Because that's a trivia question that a lot of people...
Yeah. The mother is the killer in the first Friday the 13th.
But the only connection with Dementia 13 is 13 and a child drowning.
Yep.
And you think the writer or the director watched this movie at some point?
I don't know. Like I said, I heard it somewhere, but I looked it up.
And you couldn't find it again?
I could not find anything to collaborate it.
All right. If anyone knows that, let us know. Is Greg full of shit? Or is this legit?
Well, it's not me. It's whoever said it that I heard.
No, but
whoever the other podcast was, or that other TV show, or that.
Oh, sure.
Whatever.
After a little thirsty work in the garden, you come in and now you're telling me that it's the basis for Friday the 13th, but you don't know that. So again, is Greg full of shit? Let me know. Because if he is, I would love to lord this over him. But if he's, what did I say?
Lord.
Isn't it Lord?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never lorded something over someone?
I don't think I have.
Oh, God. You have so much to learn. Well, maybe that'll be a correction in our next one. That you don't actually lord something over. I thought that was the saying. But, I've had an Irish wake, so it's possible.
Just one?
Just one.
Oh.
But in a big, tall Collins glass. Collins glass. See? Me and Billy.
There
Telling
you go. Cut her off.
I'm going to be hypnotized and start reciting
You're
nursery
gonna be what?
rhymes.
Hypnotized?
Is that what I said? Start reciting nursery rhymes.
Yep.
Well, it's, I told you, doesn't take much.
Do you have any ideas on our next film?
Oh, yeah. Our next film is going to be The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Ooh, going right for it, are you?
Yeah.
The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
And the drink is going to be The Mad Scientist.
Okay. The Brain That Wouldn't Die from 1962. Black and white, unrated.
I was going to go for something brain-oriented in the drink, but I thought maybe we'd save that for a zombie movie.
Okay. So what ingredients might we need to make The Mad Scientist?
Well, you're going to need vodka.
Okay.
Skittles.
Okay. I need to get Skittles then. What else?
Soda or Sprite and
Yeah,
dry ice if you
dry
can
ice,
find.
If you can find it. Okay.
It's a simple one.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that sums it up.
Awesome.
Spend all your money, people. Leave nothing.
Yeah, you can't take it with you.
Don't give it to anybody else because they'll just start chopping each other's heads off and stuff.
Yeah, could be. So we do have to thank once again Van Verse 13 for letting us use their music in our podcast. Again, I will link their information on the show notes. And thank you for listening, Karen.
Well, I wasn't the only one who listened. I hope. I'm sure there's at least one, maybe, other listener.
Our listener.
Thanks to our listener. Thank you so much for listening, and please drink responsibly.
Yes.
If you like what you heard today, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Look for us on Facebook at Scary Spirits Podcast. Email us at scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com or check out the website, scaryspirits.com. And if you really want to help us out, give us a 5-star review. Thanks for listening.